sometimes you just need a good reset. You need to start over. You need to move. You need a new environment. You need a fresh outlook, a fresh environment. I notice a lot of times people, when they do move, that's their signal, okay, it's time to let go of the old. But normally they won't let go or get into that mindset until they're forced to, or until a new opportunity or new home or whatever presents itself. And what I love about being able to start fresh is you're able to rewrite your future in your life. You're able to design it instead of just live in this default state. And sometimes the default state is just a compilation of decisions that you made when you didn't have the knowledge that you have now. Sometimes it's just the living in the ignorance, or now that you're aware of things, you're like, wow, I can't believe I've lived this way for so long, and you just desire so much to have that new fresh start. And a lot of people ask me, well, what do I do with all of my stuff? What did you do? Did you get rid of it all? Did you sell it? Did you donate it? Did you just throw it away? And this is a real common place where people get stuck. Normally what I tell them is I sell what I can. If I can make over $100, I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time trying to sell $20 here or whatever, because it's so time consuming. You have to keep your eye on the goal and not stumble over, little bits and pieces. The reason why people do that is because you're trying to recoup what you've spent, and it makes you feel less guilty. You're like, oh, well, at least I'm getting something from it. So if you can, yes. The next thing I did is I looked for people to bless. If there was somebody I knew they would just love, I gave a Crate and Barrel dining table to someone that I knew they would just love it. It would change their life. They didn't have one, and it blessed them tremendously. And they had a couple kids and kind of were just starting to rebuild their life. So you look for people to bless, because you're blessed when you bless others. If you're going to donate, I always suggest looking for a place that's really dear to your heart. I liked nonprofit thrift stores that would sow back into the pregnancy community or the high-risk community for women, battered shelters for women, people who had been removed out of trafficking, or rescued rather, and they are now rebuilding their life. And there's a lot of shops in there where the women need clothes. They need nice clothes and business attire, or just quality items for their kids, diapers, wipes, toys. Make sure when you donate, you don't give your junk and think you're doing like this amazing thing. You have to clean things up first. I would wipe the items, make sure they had all the parts, make sure there was no like rusted batteries and things, make sure the clothes didn't have clothes or holes or tears or stains. And then if it was just kind of junk, I give it to Goodwill, because it's not a nonprofit. They make a ton of money. They can sort through it. They have sorting centers where they sort through things. And that can help also with just kind of categorizing. But I didn't take much time doing it. I didn't want months to go by for me. So when I made the decision, or we made the decision to move, to work right away, and I compiled the stuff that I knew I could just drop off. I just dropped off. I was like, load it in the car, get it out the same day. And I probably did 10 of those loads, get it out, drop it off at the shelter, make sure it's nice. First what I did is I posted the stuff to sell. So while I was waiting for that stuff to sell, then I went and donated stuff. That way that time in between was being, you were utilizing it properly and hoping that you could sell that stuff. And when it came down to the last day, if I didn't love it, I just donated it. If it was something that I thought, well, I could maybe use this in the new place, I brought it with, and then I decided to get rid of it. But all in all, we got rid of about 80% of our belongings when we moved, and I got rid of more after we moved, probably another 50% of what was left. And I restarted from the ground up. I retrained my mind to not fill every space, I left walls blank, cupboards were blank. I didn't shove a bunch of stuff. I didn't want to bring that overwhelmed feeling into that new life. And when we moved as well, I made sure I was in an environment that helped me cultivate better habits. So it did not have a garage, and it did not have a lot of storage. And I did that on purpose because I didn't want to have that, and I wasn't going to pay for a storage. The only way for me to store my stuff was to pay for a storage. So I had some Christmas trees that I stuck in a laundry room, but if I couldn't fit it in the apartment itself, I had to let it go. This not only taught me that you can't grip everything in life. You have to be willing to let go, especially if you so desire freedom. It's when you get to the point where you are yearning for that, you desire it, you're willing to just be like, get this junk out of here. I was at that point where I was like, give me freedom or give me death. I can't live this way anymore. I mean, I had reached that point where I thought, I can't live this way, and it's not fair to my kids or my family to live this way. I mean, and when you look from the outside, it's like there was nothing wrong. We had everything we needed. We had an abundance of stuff. We had a nice home. We had income. Like, it was great, but I knew I could do better. I knew that God was going to bring me to a better, higher place, but I had to develop the characteristics of that person first. And for me to develop those characteristics, I had to go through the opposite of what I had been doing. I had to go through a refining process, which is a very difficult process. You have to be ready for like some crazy times, because it will cause friction in your marriage. Most of the time, one person's ready to give things up and the other person's still holding on to. Very rarely are both people like, yeah, let's do this together. We're going to lift each other up. It's very hard to get both people on board at the exact same time. So when one person gets on board and the other one doesn't, you just keep going, and you realize in this state in your life and in this season, you're pulling that other person, because they're going to benefit when they have that liberation and freedom as well. You're pulling them along, and you're the horse pulling everybody. You're bringing them to freedom, and you're obviously hoping and praying that when they feel that type of freedom, that they're going to be like, oh, wow, I can breathe. This is so much better. Most people don't know. They don't know the heaviness of the weight of the stuff until they let it go. They don't realize how heavy it is to live like that until they experience the freedom of not living like that. It's a crazy transformation. Also going through stuff, I was asking myself, does this item bring value to my life? Do I use it? Do we use it? Do my kids use it? Or have they used it so much that, the growth had stopped? It's like you could read the same book over and over because you love it, but maybe need to transition to another book. Because once you reach a certain level in one thing, you have to, it's like a progressive overload when you're training your muscles. You can't keep doing the same things over and over, or it stops developing. So I would look around and say, have we maximized this thing? Yeah, I think we've used it. Is this pan all scratched up? I think it's time to let this go. So because sometimes you think you need to hold on to something that you use all the time until it's actually not healthy for you anymore. You don't need to use your bath loofah for 2 months. It's not healthy to keep that mold thing in there. At some point you have to say, okay, I need to let this stuff go, and I need to allow something new. So I would go through and say, is this bringing value to anybody, or is it just taking up space? Do I want to pay a mover to move this stuff to the new house? Because I'm paying by the hour to move these things. Do I want to have to deal with figuring out where to put this in the new home? Is it something that's going to take up more time that I'm trying to free myself, from being stuck in this season? So you ask yourself these questions, and if you have to justify keeping something, then the answer is usually no. I started developing myself coming up higher and choosing things for quality instead of quantity. So instead of having like a ton of bed sheets, I see this thing online all the time where women buy these organizers for their bed sheets, and then they write or label them like king, queen, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, how many do you need? You don't need the organizers if you don't have an abundance of bed sheets. Now, I do think you should have a couple sheets for each bed for the season, because then you can swap them out. Like I'm washing whites, I switch to blue. Then I go back and forth. I also do holiday bedding. So what I did is I thought, am I going to utilize this thing? And since I do make an income on my content, is this a business asset? So I asked myself, can I link this item? Does it enhance my space or enhance the season? Or is it just kind of, it's okay, it's not great, it's not this. So it needs to be something that does something, one of those things. It's enhancing your life in some way. If you have clothes that look great on the hanger, but you hate how you feel when you're on it, or when it's on you, get rid of it. If it still has the tags on it, and you're like, well, it was expensive. Well, open up a Poshmark account, put a bin aside of things that are new, and when you move, make that a side hustle to sell those things on eBay or Poshmark or Mercari or one of those sites, or a local Facebook marketplace, if you want to recoup. But it all starts with the process of elimination. You're eliminating the things of lower value first. If it's under $20 and you can easily rebuy it on Amazon and you haven't really used it, not that you want to be wasteful or whatever, but you're like, hey, I've used this one time in 6 months, I probably won't need it. Most of the time you don't miss the things that you let go of anyways. You really don't. You're not like, oh, where is that one thing that I didn't even know existed? until today. Like, we don't even miss those things. So you have to look at it from such a higher developed perspective of, do you want life or do you want stuff? You're trading your life, your time is your life, right? The time's gone, your life's gone. When you're trading your time for that stuff, you have to get really honest and say, is this worth taking with me? So if you're at that point where you're like, you know what, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. The quicker you get started, the more stuff you start getting out of your space and out of your vision, your peripheral vision, and out of this area, the better you're going to feel. And the easier it becomes, because you build momentum, and the feeling of, oh, I just let go of all this weight, you will go back and you'll say, what else don't I need? What else don't I want? I have never rebought, I take that back. I've rebought 2 things that I let go of in that big transition, but only because I didn't think they would fit into my space, and then they ended up fitting into my space, and they came up on a great sale, and I ended up rebuying them, because it was something. But it's not a detrimental thing like, oh no, I just had to spend another $50 on something that I got rid of 4 years ago. Oh well, you just keep moving. So the benefit that you're getting by the liberation and the freedom and the willingness to the being able to breathe and to have that space is so much more than the possibility of possibly needing to buy one thing that you might need 5 years from now. You're going to replace stuff anyways, and the money's going to go somewhere anyways. So you have to keep things in that perspective. When I did this process, it also helped me avoid decision fatigue, because I didn't have so many options. I hated going and trying on a bunch of clothes. What do I feel like wearing today? I used to, I don't like how this fits. My legs don't look good in this. This shirt's too tight. It's too hot for this, but I have to wear. So I'd spent all this time in the decision and then I would end up in this, because this is practical for Arizona. I like these high neck ones. I know I have some that are lower. You guys have seen in the videos, but these high neck ones just help keep the sun off of my chest a little bit, and they're comfortable, and I like it. It's hot here, so I don't need to wear a silk shirt that's gonna make me sweat and be so hot and sweaty that it's so uncomfortable. So I'm practical in those ways, where I invest in the things that I know I'm gonna wear, and then I wear it till it's like, okay, this is clearly looking a little shabby, I need to get rid of it. But you've seen me in my videos, I wear a lot of the same similar things. Now I do keep things for like a Christmas party. I do have some Christmas dresses. I do like to dress up on occasion. I do have some nice blouses and skirts and boots, but it's so hot here until October that I don't transition into that style until late, fall, winter, and then it starts getting warm again, basically around March, April-ish. So we only have a few months, and then I like to wear those types of things. So you have to decide what you're going to keep for your seasonal and what you're going to keep for your everyday or like basic stuff that you you live in. You do housework. This is easy. I'm working out, I'm doing housework, I'm helping the kids, I'm going to the gym, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I don't have to change my clothes a bunch of times. So you're getting rid of the fatigue and decisions. Also, I stick to stores that I like, that I trust, that I know the quality. I don't like to go out of. If you're looking for cheaper items, you're risking the quality. Generally, that's what happens, and it either breaks, it doesn't look as good, it doesn't hold up as well, and so buying quality over quantity is a huge shift as well. Less but better. So you're selecting lesser things, but better value, better quality, and they might be a little bit more expensive, but now you can invest in those things that you'll keep for how many years. I've had I've got I have a few Restoration Hardware. They were my favorite. It's an investment, those pieces are, but you can you can actually snag some really good sales. But those pieces I keep, and they're getting a little worn. The table's getting worn. It's a solid wood, like oak table. It's getting chipped up, scratched from moving a few times or whatever, but you're not replacing every year. You're not replacing, every couple years. You're keeping it for 5, 6, 7, 10 years or whatever until it's actually, okay, this has got to go and that's time for a new one. So the investment, usually we take care of the things that we invest in. This is why investing in the things that are going to make you better or enhance your life is going to change your life. If you're investing in things that's going to make you a lesser, function lower, then you're going to get the results of all that. A good example might be a late night movie. You're not investing in your sleep because you're investing in watching a movie. Well, the late night movie is going to mess up your circadian rhythm. I'm not saying you can't ever watch a late night movie, but My husband and I used to do date nights and we'd watch movies, and it got to the point where it really messed up my hormones. He probably didn't understand it as much because guys can bounce back and be on less sleep, but it really messed up my hormones depending on the time of month I was in. I didn't sleep good. I was getting to bed at like midnight or 1, and I'm like, oh, we stayed up watching this movie. It was a dud, you know, and I didn't really enjoy it. And now I'm tired and groggy and cranky the next day. My face is puffy. And so, excuse me, I had to start saying, no, I just can't do it. If we can't do it, if we can't start the movie at 7 to be in bed by 9, you know, I can't do it because I need my rest. So I started choosing me over that. And the first few times it was obviously, well, you know, you're not, it caused a little bit of friction, but you have to decide, what do you want more of? You want to be your best self, or do you want to compromise and give in all the time? And ladies, we know, like, the older you get, you're like, okay, I'm putting myself first. This is it. I've had enough. I'm not doing it. I need my sleep. Everybody leave me alone. This is my time. Don't touch me at night. I need to have rest. I'm tired, you know, and that's just how it is sometimes. So you have to cultivate your life around you being your best, and obviously them being their best as well, and leading your family, teaching them quality over quantity. You don't have to overconsume. You don't have to chase trends and deals. You don't have to waste your time digging through bins at the outlet in the thrift store. You don't have to do all that stuff thinking that you're saving money, because that mindset in itself is what gets you to spend more, because you're in the momentum of that mindset. You're not in the pause, self-control, searching for what I want, will make the decision when I'm ready. You're in the, oh yeah, this is a great deal, this looks good. You're in that impulse, and that is what these companies attach themselves to. Oh yeah, get her, open up a card, you can save, and you know, all of this stuff. And I remember one time, years ago, I had to file bankruptcy, and my husband went through a lot of, he went through chemo for some cancer. And anyways, so the medical bills, and it tanked my credit. So I was in a TJ Maxx. This was back in like 2018, 2017. And I was in a TJ Maxx, and a lady was trying to get me to open. I don't go to TJ Maxx anymore. I haven't been into a TJ Maxx and Home Goods in at least 3 years. But I was in there, and she was pressuring me to open up this card. You want to open up this card? You want to open this card? I'm like, no, I don't want to. You'll get this. You'll get 10%. I said, no, I don't want to. And she's like, oh, may I ask why? I'm like, because I'm going through a bankruptcy right now. Quit bothering me. And I yelled it really loud. And I was so like, quit pressuring me to open up this to get me back into what I don't want to get back into, even though that wasn't the reason at the time. But when you do file, all of your stuff goes in, you know, and I just didn't want to do that. But it was the pressure of, oh, these women are shopping, let's get them. And I just started looking around, and I'm like, look at all these people just digging around for good deals. And of course, everybody, it's not like a stereotype or a specific type of person, but I would notice, and my husband liked to go to the outlets all the time, and my grandparents loved to go to the outlets all the time. And then I would look around, I'd be like, everybody's got all, they're shopping, they got bags, they think they're getting good deals, but really, you're just shopping looking for deals for the most part on getting things you don't need. And his family, who used to go, they had closets packed full of stuff. I mean, so many shoes. The shoes were still in boxes, so many purses, so many things. I remember one year he got me a Michael Kors bag for Christmas, and he was super excited about it. This is when we first got married. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, you don't like it? And I'm like, I really needed a drill. You know, I needed a hammer and a drill and like a tool set. He was like, what? Like, what kind of girl are you? And I was like, well, I'm that kind of girl. I need paint. Let's paint. I want to paint, you know, and so I just wanted practical things. I didn't want a designer purse that said MK all over it, Michael Kors. I was like, this thing is ugly. Now I know some women like that, but I didn't like it. And my grandparents loved going to the outlets, searching for those deals, and then going to the food court and the cafeteria and searching. I was like, this is gross. I just, you know, it wasn't a place from, wow, I'm better than everybody. It was just like, I don't want to waste my time doing this. I'd rather select the things that I like. I do prefer online shopping because they're not sucking you in. When you're in the store, you're like, oh, it smells good, the music, everything looks good. Ooh, you're touching it. All of your senses are in it. You're like, yeah, okay, I really want this. It's on sale. I don't have the money. Okay, I'll open it. It becomes easier. So you can't put yourself in situations to be that lower self. You have to put yourself in situations where you can exercise the control and the discipline and the good habits. Because the more you exercise that muscle, just what it is, you're exercising it, the easier it becomes, and the more default of a person you become. You like that becomes your default person. This is what helps that old person die away, basically. You're not feeding it. You're not feeding that old person. You're not feeding those old habits. So you have to one up your old self and say no. And it's really the paradigm. When I say old self, it's your paradigm. Everything, your paradigm controls your behavior, and your behavior controls your results. So your paradigm is your subconscious. It is how you think. It's all of the things linked to how you were raised, all of those deep ingrained things, your culture, how you were raised, what you experienced as a child. And the only ways to really change the paradigm are through repetition, doing the opposite over and over and over, or through some type of traumatic event that halts everything and makes your brain rewire itself. I would rather do the repetition. I don't want a traumatic event. So the repetition might seem like it's more work because, yeah, you're doing the opposite of what you normally do. But in that is the freedom, because the more you do that, the easier saying no to the lower things become. No, I don't want to go to the thrift store. No, I don't want to watch a movie at 11 o'clock. No, I don't want a Coca-Cola. I'll take a water with you, because you start enjoying how you feel. Then you start enjoying how you sleep. I hope this isn't windy. I'm trying to cover. You start enjoying how you sleep. Start enjoying having money in the bank. You start enjoying not having debt. You start enjoying living in freedom. You start enjoying not having to explain everything to everybody. You're not, you're not involved in family gossip. You're not wasting time on frivolous, ridiculous things and nonsense. And you're not wasting time returning all of the impulse buys once you woke up from it, because that's what happens. You're on a high. You bought all this stuff, and then the next day you're like, do I really need this? Or even when you get home, you're like, why did I do that? Do I really need all this stuff? And then you have to spend the time going to return it. And it's a big waste of time, and it's a cycle. So submit yourself to the right environment, the right soil that helps you grow to be that person. It'll make it much easier on yourself. And if that means you have to move because your place just keeps you stuck, then be willing to do that. Life is an adventure. There's always a new, fresh start. You can always do something. Whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70, you can start over. So have the courage to say, I'm going to live. And I'm going to live as being my best self and my highest self. And I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. I don't care if that person's not on board with me, because I don't need their approval. And you don't need to be somebody just so they like you, just so they're friends with you. You don't need to prove yourself to anybody. And this, when you get rid of all of that, and you understand that you're not going to please everybody anyways, somebody's always going to be mad at you, regardless. It's going to be your spouse, or it's going to be their parent, or it's going to be a friend. Somebody's going to be mad at you. They're going to be disappointed. They're going to wish you did something different, or you did. So don't even waste your time trying to please everybody anyways, because it's just a big waste of time. So I hope this message blesses you, and I hope I'm just going to end it here because otherwise I'll keep rambling. So God bless you all.